Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going over Come Follow Me for August, and I'm excited to get into this with you. So if you enjoy this type of content or other homeschool content, please remember to subscribe, and let's talk about Come Follow Me. Okay, so it is almost August, which is baby month. The beginning of August is baby month for me, and so I'm trying to get all this stuff done so that you will still have it when I am resting with a newborn baby. And so we're gonna go through Come Follow Me for August. There's 4 weeks that it's gonna cover, and we are talking about Paul. We shifted into Acts. We've been talking about Paul, so I'm just gonna mention a few things here. So these are some scriptures that talk about the Lord being with Paul, and they each relate to one of these pictures on the side. So they're gonna look them up, or you could assign a child to look up each one, and they could share with everybody what they learned, and they could draw the lines. There's multiple ways to do it, but just to show how the Lord was with Paul. He was there helping him through these struggles. And then another part of this first week that I really love is Paul bearing his testimony to King Agrippa. And he goes through this whole thing, which is the day before this. You're gonna go through and learn a little bit about that testimony of Christ that he gave. But I thought it'd be also cool to connect this to Joseph Smith, which is what they're going to do here. So they're gonna have to look it up. Okay, they're gonna have to go to the index in the Book of Mormon, in the triple combination or whatever, and look up Agrippa, because then it will show where it's mentioned in the standard works. And it will show you it's in Doctrine and Covenants. Well, no, it's not in Doctrine and Covenants. It's in Joseph Smith history. But they're going to go to Joseph Smith history, and they're going to write that Joseph Smith is another one that used this testimony from Paul as a strength. And then they're going to write, I think, or draw a picture down here of how did he use this testimony? Obviously, he's talking about the first vision and how he couldn't deny what he saw. And that was similar, like from Paul, that he gained that strength from Paul. Paul couldn't deny what he saw, what he was going through, and he was going to go out and testify to people about Christ. So just to create those parallels of Joseph relying on these scriptures in the Bible that he would have read, obviously all growing up. And then the next week, we're going to go into the Romans. So we're going to jump out of Acts and start getting into these individual epistles. So I thought it'd be, I don't know if fun's the right word, maybe good to see visually where this is. So the first one that we're going to talk about is to the Romans. And I mentioned up here that the epistles are not in chronological order. If you want to see the order, you can, I think they have it in the Bible dictionary, but there's also several things like online on the church website. If you search for it, you could see everything chronologically and how it would go that way. But they are more shown in the Bible according to length. So Romans is the longest, so it comes first, even though in chronological order it was not the first letter that was given. So you could go over that. You can talk about as much or as little as you want to about these epistles and kind of their purpose. And in this picture, they're going to circle where Rome is, so over here, and then also where Jerusalem is down here, and talk about, you can discuss with them that Christ was teaching down here mainly to Jewish people, and that Paul now is being sent out to the Gentiles. He's sent out to everyone else and is preaching the gospel. And the first book we're going to be talking about in the Bible starts with Rome. Okay, and we're going to be talking about the Romans. So I'll try to remember to put these at the beginning of each new one. There's another one in this month. We'll get to it in a few weeks. The last week we'll be moving into Corinthians. And so hopefully it will help visually and just kind of to understand the epistles a little bit more. And then plant a seed. We're going to be talking about the importance of faith and how we have to grow it, and the example that Paul gives us. And so they're going to draw a picture here of a flower, and you can discuss how does that flower get there. Obviously, it's not just like poof and there's a flower. You plant the seed, you have to nourish it, you have to get water and sunlight and all these things. And since it is summertime and excuse me, there's a lot of access to plants and flowers and seeds right now, you could always plant seeds and watch them grow as well, and discuss as they start to grow what you've had to do to get them to grow. That might be a good visual, especially maybe for some younger kids. My older kids love watching plants grow too, so I guess it really doesn't matter, but that's just another option. And we're going to talk about heavenly parents here and where we've come from, that we're, joint heirs with Christ. And so in these scriptures, I have these scriptures all printed right here for you, for your kids and for you. And so they can go through them and they can highlight what it says about who we are and what we have the opportunity to become. And then down here, I put a spot for the definition of heir, because some people might not know, some of your kids might not know, and if they don't, it will be good opportunity to have them look it up in a dictionary. They can look it up on the computer. I don't even think we have a book dictionary anymore, so that might not work. But you could have them look it up on the computer, look it up with them, and discuss what an heir is, and what it means in this context in the scriptures, what it means just in a family setting, or like with a king or a queen or anything like that, just help them better understand. And then the last thing for this week I wanted to mention is this page right here. It's talking about judging others and how we are not good judges because we don't have the whole picture. So I just picked a picture. You don't have to use this picture, or you could do this with multiple pictures, other things that you have, and maybe pictures that you know more about the story than you see in the picture, because then you could tell your kids about it. So with this one, you're gonna write or describe or draw a picture of what you can tell me about this just from the picture. Okay, you don't get any other context. All you get to do is look at the picture and tell me what is going on. And then kind of brainstorm or talk about what you don't know about this picture. Okay, maybe you don't know maybe why he's laying there. He kind of looks like he's smiling. Maybe he had a good day. Maybe he got a new job. Maybe he got married. Probably not married, but maybe he met a new girl, or something, maybe something good happened in his life. Maybe he's just enjoying nature. Okay, there's a lot of things that you don't know about the picture, and that's why it's hard for us to be the judge, because we don't know the full story. So that's why it could be fun to show pictures where you know more of the story, because then you could have your kids try to figure out what's going on and share with them what is actually going on, and help them see that making judgments about somebody, it usually doesn't end well, because there's so much you don't know, so much you don't understand. So there's that one. And then, sorry, just knocking stuff over. And then here's Paul's letter to the Corinthians. So like I said, I put the map back in here, and I said to circle Rome again, just so you can see where it is. You could do it in a different color. And then you're gonna have Corinth right here that you're gonna circle, and then put like a square around Jerusalem, so kids can kind of get a visual of what's going on and where Paul is traveling. Obviously, again, these aren't in order of where he's traveled first, but it'll at least give them a visual of what he's doing, because I think that's a lot of work, all the traveling that he's putting in, the letters that are being sent. It's not easy things. He's not just staying in one place. So that's that one, because we're moving into Corinthians. And then we're going to discuss how Paul is ridiculed and criticized for teaching about Christ, right? He says he's told that he's being foolish. And so in this scripture, it has the words that wise or wisdom and foolish, and the difference between those two things, and how he's like, no, it's actually wisdom to teach about Christ. So I put some things down here, some commandments that we've been asked to keep, and I thought it might be a good idea you can role play it, or you could do it sort of charades, but you could talk and maybe use someone else for help to role play with. And if someone came up to you and said, oh, it's so silly that you live this word of wisdom, that you have this health code that you live by, what would you say to them? Okay, you could tell them the blessings that come from it. You could just bear your testimony of Christ. Okay, there's lots of different options, but the more you role play, or have these charades and have people guess maybe what commandment you're doing, it will help you in real situations because you already have worked through it in a role play situation. So that's what that is. And you can pick other commandments. I just listed a few. You could pick more, you could pick less. You can make it, again, as big or small as you want. And then the last page I wanted to mention is about our bodies being sacred. So we're going to talk about our bodies being a temple, and that's what they're going to draw in this top box, is what our bodies are compared to. And then how our bodies are similar to temples. They're going to write 3 ways how they're similar. And you could discuss this more, go into maybe what modesty means and what it looks like in your family, and why it's important to take good things into our bodies. You know, going to the temple, we try to keep it clean and pure, and that's how the spirit is able to dwell there. And what happens, like when there's graffiti on the temple or something like that, you know, they go clean it off, which is how we can repent and become better. So there's a lot of different things you could talk about in this specific area according to your family and what you've decided your standards are and things like that. Okay, so that's Come Follow Me for August. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll link it down below along with the past bingo cards. Again, I haven't made any new bingo cards, but if you want to review some of the stuff we talked about at the beginning of the year, or the beginning half of the year, those will be linked down below as well. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying studying the New Testament. Paul is one of my favorite people to study about. I love studying him as a teenager, so I hope you enjoy this time in the second half of the New Testament as much as you enjoyed the first half. And remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.